Management, styling, creative direction. What do you enjoy the most?
Oh my day. You know, I really love artist management.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy? It's like...
No, it's not. I get it. I get it. But other people will listen to what we're talking about.
They're going to be like,
and
she's tripping.
They're nuts. Paris Cole, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing good. I'm incredibly excited to have you on the Manager's Playbook.
Yes, the Manager's Playbook.
Well, we were discussing whether it should be, because I was thinking about changing Manager's Playbook. We're saying the, not the. We're going to go with the Manager's Playbook.
I like the.
Okay, look. I'm going to roll with what you say because you are one of the best when it comes to branding. You are an incredible multi-hyphenate. You are artist manager, creative director, stylist. You've worked with some of the best in the music business, some of the best in R&B. I would say, and I think it's a valid argument, that you have your fingerprints all over R&B music and what it's become today. And we could talk about that. I'd love to talk about that. But some of the artists that you've managed was Ari Lennox, Lucky Daye. And then you have Outliers, you had Outliers with a friend of the Manager's Playbook, Natalie Prosper. Shout out to homie Natalie.
Yes.
Y'all managed D-Mob, Varn Wade, Camper, Audio Push, Tone Stith. So many different incredible artists. So thanks for coming and doing this. Huh?
Thank you for having me. I'm honored and very humbled to be here.
No, why? I mean, like you're great at what you do. And,
Thank you.
And I think it's like important to really let people know, you know, how great you are. I learned about you maybe like a year ago from Natalie. As I was doing some research on Natalie, I was like, this Paris girl. I was like, oh, shit, she's like dope. I got to talk to her at some point. So I'm happy you're doing this.
Thank you.
Love to start in the beginning here, though. Like, just tell me a little bit about the journey and like how lit DC is, because there seems to be so many people from DC that are just...
My hometown is the best. I love DC, born and raised in DC. Went to school in Maryland. So I went to school in Montgomery County, which is like home to like where Wale went to, Logic, Brent Faiyaz is from the area.
Crazy. See, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, Montgomery County is like that. It's like the stop before you get to DC. It's a little bit, you know, DC is like the nucleus and you got Maryland and Virginia. That's why it's called the DMV.
Right.
But it's really small and such a beautiful hub because it's very diverse. It's very Black. It's very filled with culture. But I would say like my start began around, I don't know, 2015, 14. I was working at the nightclubs in DC. I worked at like the front door. I was like the guest list girl. I'm like checking you. Is your name on the guest list?
Oh, really?
Girl?
You're running guest list
I was running guest list.
I don't see your name on here, Wale. No,
I was promoting. I don't know. It was interesting time. But I had worked the front door of this club called Lux Lounge. It was on New York Avenue. And I met DJ Alizé, who was really, I would say he was like my first starting point into music and my entire existence into this world. He came up to me and he was like, yo, you have good energy. And I was like, this is Alizé telling me I have good energy.
That's what's up.
And we became very close friends and he opened the door to me discovering hip hop. So my journey really starts with hip hop first, I would say. He used to have this room that was like covered in like XXL and Vibe magazines and Old Fader magazines. And it was like a portal with turntables and a bunch of vinyl. And I just remember just learning all of like the core of what hip hop was and what I missed. I mean, my mom she was born in the 70s, so I have a young mom. But I remember listening to like Beanie Siegel and Cameron growing up, and then Zay kind of put me on to the... Yeah, my mom is pretty hip.
How old are you? You're like 5 at the time? 6?
Yeah, I was listening to, I mean, one of my first movies, she's probably gonna hate that I tell people this, but like I watched Menace to Society when I was like 6. 7,
Great
8.
movie, though.
It's a great movie.
Yeah.
But she's young, so she, DC is a go-go city, so I grew up on a lot of go-go music.
Okay.
Listening to like Essence and Subtle Thoughts.
Yeah.
And then I think, she was just always tapped in. Like she had the Jay-Z Blueprint album. I remember seeing, be the coming in the door of her Acura. Like I just remember these vivid memories of hip hop in that way. Yeah. And Zay kind of gave me like the foundational things.
Right.
I was learning about Bahamadia and Gangstar and deep diving into Nas. But he really opened a lot of doors for me to learn, the true essence of what it even means to be in music. Because I think hip hop is such like it's a spiritual place, right? People say hip hop is also its own religion. So I feel like my foundation came from that. Watching him be in the clubs, DJing, breaking records, like, Zay was the first person to break the Weeknd in DC.
Really?
Yeah. He was breaking everything from the Weeknd to also all the old, hip-hop classics to all the emerging artists that were even coming in and out of DC at the time.
So he's putting you onto this music as well, because you're in the clubs listening to this.
I'm in the clubs.
You're working with him?
Yes, I'm in the clubs. I'm working a bunch of front doors, and then I start working with him as well, just as far as helping him manage, his bookings. And we had like a radio show at Listen Vision, which is across from Howard University. And we used to have this radio show called How to Make It in DC. This is after How to Make It in America came out.
Okay.
And we had like
that show never should have been canceled.
Right?
I don't know.
So
like,
good.
it was like just a season, I think.
Yes. I think it was like 2 seasons.
Yeah,
and
was
then
it 2
canceled.
seasons?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's such a good show.
Great show.
Okay.
But we had this podcast, before podcasting was podcast, it was like a live stream.
Right.
A small studio. And we would have like different artists come by. Like we had I think we had Dom Kennedy come by a few times.
Dope.
We had Pete Rock stop by. Like we were really creating this, nucleus of like music in the club space, like as far as, having all the hot spots, but then also like talking about music and still kind of bringing that culture to the city.
Yeah. So when you were doing that 2015, 2016, so then you came across Ari and Lucky like early then in your career, basically.
Yeah, I had known about Ari through a friend of mine. And when was that? It was a Trillelectro. Do you remember that festival?
No.
Trillelectro Festival, shout out to Modi. He's now founder of Swang.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, he and his friends founded this big festival at the time, bridging electro and hip hop music into the city. I mean, they had thousands and thousands of people come to these shows. But Ari was on that show, and my friend was like, yo, Ari's about to perform at Trillelectro. Would you want to style her? And I was like, oh, sure. I've never really styled in that way before, but I was like, yo, have her meet me at Buffalo Exchange on 14th and P Street, which is no longer there.
Okay.
In DC, and I met up with her, and we didn't really have much money, much budget.
Why did the friend suggest for you to style her?
I'm not Stevie. So his name is Stevie. Shout out to Stevie. He's a DJ and just a cultural artisan, I'll say. I don't know why. I think my positioning in DC was interesting because not only was I young and a part of the bar, restaurant, and nightlife scene, I was a part of also a studio that was being built there. At the time, it was called Beyond Studios. Now it's called XY Coordinate. But it was really a hub for like everything that was going on. It was a brand new recording studio. We had like a white photo studio space. And then I was just kind of out and about. So I just felt like I was just tapped into things. I think, I was always kind of fashion forward. Had my own sense of style. But he was like, yo, I think you can like help her find something to wear.
Well, people were seeing you outside. You were building within the community. People knew who you were. So that's important. I think people forget about that. I still think it's important in this day and age. It's like, you could be on your phone and like you could be popping on there, but you got to be outside as well too, connecting with people. All right, everybody, we're going to take a little break. Because if you're listening and thinking, fuck, I could really use some guidance right now, and you're serious about building your career in the music industry, I'm now offering private strategy sessions. These are fully personalized, just you and me tackling whatever you need in your career. With over 16 years of experience working with artists, managers, and brands, I can help you map out your next moves. Now, whether that's structuring your team, scaling your brand, navigating the industry, even figuring out what steps to take, whether to go to a distributor or to a record label and figuring out what are the best deal points, I can help you with your career with where you're at. You can now book a one-on-one with me through my Calendly, and you can find the link in the description. Now let's get back to the pod.
I mean, in my early 20s, I was very much outside. I was working for a bar and restaurant group. At the time, I was even working with Zay. And I mean, I helped open up 8 businesses in DC.
Oh, wow.
One of them was called Big Chief, which was like a real cultural hub because we were doing things with like Broccoli City Fest when it came to the city. I was hosting, Kanye West's after party at this place. And I really just always created community in my spaces. And these were like, DC is a pretty small town. It's 10 by 10. So it's like, it's 10 miles wide, 10 miles long.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was just young and really connected into the scene. And I just always connected people with events that were going on or things that were coming into the city. On the music side, Beyond Studio was like one of the only studios, except for house studios, that really allowed people to kind of just come in and out and create. And Ari happened to be one of those people at the time. And yeah, I styled her. I met Justin Lamott, her manager, who was my partner.
Shout out to Justin.
Shout out to Justin. And she was doing a few shows in the city. And I remember just wanting to I'm like, do we need to get some eyelashes for this show? Like, do I need to run to CVS? Do you want to wear this jacket of mine? And I was just really just helping her figure out, how to show up on stage and be confident. And I think especially with women artists that are growing in their 20s, it's like you're finding out what you want to look like, what you want to wear, what's your style like. And I think
who you are.
Yeah. And at the time she had just been signed to Dreamville. And it's a lot of guys. Our bands are guys. It was just me and Ari for a sec, kind of figuring out how to.
That's right. Yeah.
It's a lot of male energy. So I think I brought another female perspective to, her journey and discovering who she was.
Yeah.
So at that time, Ari is, she had just put out Pho. And I stopped working the bar restaurant scene and I quit. I was working at Creative Theory also. It was a creative agency in the city. Mm-hmm. And I just was like, I'm gonna move to LA. Ari was trying to transition between New York and LA. I had just met Natalie that same summer through a good friend of mine, Eddie Forcell, who, shout out to Eddie Forcell. He's an A&R at Prescription Songs currently. And I always say the best record he ever created was me and Natalie. Putting us together was the best record of his career. He's gonna probably cringe when he sees this, but I think—
No, that's a real testament to somebody being able to identify more than a record. I mean, you're identifying, records are important, of course, but I mean identifying people that belong together, that are synergistic. That's a huge part of this too. Yeah.
When I met Nat, I was just starting to visit.
Went platinum, she went diamond.
You know what I'm saying? He made so many things happen, just that one intro.
Yeah.
But I remember meeting Natalie. I had visited LA once and he was not in town. And he was like, yo, just meet with Nat. She's like, she's my homegirl. Nat at the time was managing Scooter, still managing Baron. She was just
Camper
at the time, A-Rod at the time. She just was she was the first woman I met that was managing artists and songwriters and producers. And I was like, this is cool.
Yeah.
And we just clicked. We just became instant friends. So I remember I called her and I was like, I think I'm gonna move to LA. She was like, great, I have a couch for you. I was like, beautiful.
Crazy, after one meeting.
Well, it took a few months, maybe 5 or 6 months of building.
You know who was like that? Azad.
Yeah.
With me. I kind of remember how our first phone call was just basically on the bidding war for Jesse. And then after a while, he hit me up and he was just like, I don't remember how this happened, but somehow I ended up, he had a spare bedroom in this apartment that he had in Culver. And he's like, why don't you just crash here? Because the guy's in Australia, so you could crash here for the next 4 weeks or whatever. I was like, bet, I will take you up on that.
That's everyone's LA journey to me.
I stayed there for 3-4 months. Mm-hmm. It was almost which was crazy. So, but yeah, I mean, same thing, yeah.
When I met Nat, we weren't doing anything together. I was coming out to just, I was managing Ari with Justin. And then—
Wait, and so when did that become a thing, when you started managing? You went from styling her to managing Ari.
Yeah, it did, yeah. It was more so around we went on tour with Drum. Remember when Drum had Broccoli?
Yeah, of course.
That was her first tour, which also was just what kind of led me to quit my job. She was opening with River Tiber. And
no, River.
Yeah.
He's from Toronto.
Yeah, Tommy.
Yeah. Tommy.
Tommy.
Yeah, such a good dude.
They're all great.
Yo, put the music out, please. I know you're gonna see this.
He's so great.
He's a genius.
No, he's fantastic.
Yeah.
And that whole crew is great.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember that.
Oh shit. Okay, crazy.
That tour was like the start of everything. Justin was like, yo, Ari's going on the road. Do you want to come? And I was like, sure. I always wanted to be a roadie. But at the time, I was just trying to help. Like, I don't think I could even say I was even just styling her. Like, I think that is what kind of transitioned me from just being a stylist to then eventually co-managing. I think I was just really, I knew her potential and I knew that she just needed, a friend also to just kind of help her bring out the best of herself.
Right.
And like I said, she was around a lot of guys.
Yeah,
so
it's a different conversation,
it's just a
different level of comfort.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so there was just a lot of synergy on that tour where I was able to kind of, help her figure out what she was wearing. I was driving. I remember I drove from like Chicago to Atlanta once, which was crazy.
How come?
You know how it is when you're starting out and the tour budget's not tour budgeting. We were in a van. Shout out to Sed, who was our engineer, and Kamari, a DJ. Like, we were really thugging it. Like, one thing I will give Ari is she really thugged it to be where she is now. We didn't have a lot to work with at the time because she was a new artist. And, I think with where she was in Interscope and Dreamville, they're still trying to figure out what's happening? Like, how are we packaging it? What's her sound like? What's her look like?
Yeah. And I would, people would assume just because she signed to Dreamville, like automatically it's on, the budget's open up. But but Dreamville, I'm sure at that time they were relatively new as a label.
Yeah.
They're still figuring it out.
They're figuring it out.
It's not like
it's Cause, it's Loot, it's Earth Gang. Like,
That's a lot of artists.
It's a lot of artists, and it's a lot of guys.
Yeah, it's a lot of guys as well too. So you're still figuring out infrastructure throughout that whole process. Yeah, sure, like you get a JV and you get a bag to like work these artists and stuff, but like you still need the infrastructure.
Still have to package it.
Still.
And I would say like we started to hit our stride when after Pho we put together she was moved to Brooklyn actually before I moved to LA. And I just had a Polaroid camera and I took these 4 pictures, which ended up being the single covers for her first 4 records before the album. So Pedigree, No One, 40 Shades of Choke. These Polaroids became now this like nostalgic aesthetic. It was gritty, but it was still beautiful and fresh. And I think it was just like a cool moment where she was kind of solidifying, like just being authentically her,
Can I ask, like, so was that intentional? How does that come about? Are you taking these photos and saying, this is what I think an aesthetic looks like? Or are you organically getting into this and then it starts to become the thing?
I don't know. When I think of some of my times, everything was happening so fast.
Yeah, fair enough.
I was really building a friendship with Ari. So we were always also together. And when it came to the point of figuring out, like, all right, we're going to put out these records. What's the album? First of all, these were the records that didn't make Shea Butter Baby. And she loved them.
That's right.
And I loved them. And I was like, I love Pedigrees. I love that song. We were like, well, let's just do it ourselves. It became one of those things where it was just like, we'll lock in. She'll put on a blue dress and put on these cute shoes, and like I was just taking pictures of these like pieces of her. And I think the fans liked that. I think it was just an organic release. It was like feeding the streets, if you will.
Yes.
I always say that. Like, you have to feed the streets before you even get to getting people excited about an album. And I think those records was that for her. Just in the imagery alone. And I think Whipped Cream was the moment that tied it all in together, because now we're seeing an elevated Ari in this beautiful music video shot by Ryan DiBaggio, who's one of my favorite directors. And we had Ryan Helephant, who's one of the best DPs in the game. But like, it just captured Ari in such a way that I think it just made people fall in love with her. She was Shea Butter Baby before Shea Butter.
She was Shea Butter.
We emphasized the curls, like, she was natural. Her body's natural. Like, I think we just leaned into her. And I think it worked, right? Like, I think people fell in love with...
I wouldn't say it worked.
I think people fell in love with just this beautiful... I mean, she has an incredible voice. I think she's just one of those...
Absolutely.
She's just one of those generational artists that I've just knew that just with a little bit of help and a little bit of, touch of detail, I think, she won the hearts and minds of everyone.
So, and a lot of everything that you're talking about there is like artist development.
Correct.
Artist development in public. Because it's not like this is happening there are conversations that are happening behind the scenes, but a lot of this is like, would you say trial and error as well?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so talk to me a little bit about what you think people, managers of today or artists of today get wrong when it comes to artist development.
Ooh-wee.
Don't hold back now. This is not the place to hold back.
Hold on, let me get my words together. I think people have to be okay with the in-between. And I mean the in-between of they may or may not be there yet, but how do we keep making something better? And for example, a style. At one point in time, Ari was I just only want to wear Hot Topic tees and jeans. I'm cool. Well, let's make it a really cool Hot Topic tee, and at least let's do a little bit of your makeup. Then it became, I want to wear dresses. I want to maybe show a little bit of clavicles. And it was okay, then let's go to that level. It's always an inch by inch to how you get that perfect style. It's something that you want to grow. Also the fans want to grow with that.
Right.
And I think when you ask me what do they get wrong, sometimes it doesn't work when you just try to throw money at something and put somebody in a certain look and feel, and it doesn't work. It doesn't hit. And it's because it doesn't feel organic.
Yeah, I was gonna say, why do you think that?
I think sometimes to me, style is just natural, right? Swag is natural. You can't try too hard in swag. You can't try too hard in fashion either. Real people are gonna see through it. I think sometimes you have to be okay with what I was saying, which is that build, or even the less is more. I'm a less is more person. And I think even with Lucky, that was my approach when I started dressing and styling him too. Also, not only because we didn't have a big budget, but because a lot of times it is I don't need you in a bust-down chain yet.
Right.
You might just need to tuck your chain in and maybe have 2 buttons. I think being intentional about knowing when to, turn the key up on the styling and knowing what moments to hit that versus just letting them kind of ease into their natural self.
So you would say then out the gate, too many looks, bad idea?
I would say trying too hard, bad idea.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Difference.
Trying too hard to be fly, trying too hard. Sometimes you don't need to wear shades inside. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, of course I do. Yeah.
I don't know how to describe it. It's just one of those things.
Seen a lot of that this Grammy week.
You know?
I was it's really dark in here.
I think when you're an artist, you have the pressure of wanting to come out like you got it together.
Yeah.
And I think the beauty is in the build. The beauty is in let me grow with you. And that's why Ari and Lucky have such a core fan base. People grew with them from their style, from their evolution. You remember Shea Butter Baby to now No Vacancy Ari, and I think that's a beautiful thing because that's also what resonates with the fans the most. It's damn, she looks like me, she dresses like me, I want to look like her,
yes.
I want to look like him. You need those touch points, and I think it just takes a while to build that.
Yeah.
Because they're growing people.
And you're almost taking the route of we took the same road as well with Jessie.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Talk about it, yeah. And it was internally, we'd always talk about it. It was Jessie is the people's champ.
She is.
And let's approach it from that perspective as much as possible. Never lose that core kind of base and that audience because they'll sniff it out if something feels
absolutely
off, 100%. Even if they don't know who you are as an artist, you could sniff out whether something is, if the swag is put on, so to speak, or not.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think, I'm so thankful that I got to work with them because I think, when it comes to artist development, that's what myself, Natalie, and Justin were doing. We were going hard to make sure, the way that they were being pushed into the world was nurtured. And they also themselves.
Yeah.
I didn't ever want them to feel pressured of trying to do too much or wearing too much makeup. It's no, be you. You don't want to wear makeup today? Cool. You don't want to wear that today? Great.
Yeah.
You want to wear this dress? Great. Just kind of building real confidence also, It's hard to go out there and sing in front of people and be also insecure with what you got on. It's it has to come from within. And I think, my role in both of in any artists that I work with, I always want them to feel like themselves. And I think that's why a lot of people work with me or like to work with me.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I'm not gonna be like, yo, put this on and you're good. It's like, yo, how do you feel? Like I always ask, how do you feel? Do you feel good in this? Like I may like it, but do you like it? And that's always been my approach because that's what makes it feel authentic to the viewers anyway. So it doesn't matter if it looks fly.
I have like, this is all these questions are my questions that I think about. But how would you deal with whenever you had to do a fashion shoot and somebody else was coming in dressing?
Oh, you're trying to get into it.
Yeah, because like that was not easy for us.
Yeah.
And again, and it was difficult, at times.
I'm glad you brought this up because I remember one time this happened and it was when we were figuring out Ari's album. And at first she came up with this concept and we gave it to the label and she wanted to she had a photo shoot and they brought in another stylist. And so what I will say, what I struggled with personally was like, I was manager and stylist, which
is crazy.
Which is crazy.
Yeah.
That's not too many people. That's like...
Credit to your talent though.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And then also I was still young and proving myself to these bigger label systems.
How old were you, if you don't mind me asking?
I was like 24,
wow.
25. I'm like 24, 25.
Wow. Yeah.
So it's like, who's this girl? She's managing you and she's styling you. But you have to think, when you're managing an emerging artist, you're not really making that money at that, you're not making a living. And they're two separate services at that point. I was just so committed because I'm also your manager. I'm like, whatever it takes. If I have to do this, then we have to. If I got to pack the bags and do the things, we're gonna make it work. But I'll never forget one time, the label ended up moving forward with a photo shoot and brought in another stylist. And it was like, it was when I knew it was growing. It was like a good sign.
Okay.
It was a good sign that like, oh shit, like I can't do everything anymore. Like I can't be the one that's carrying the bags and talking to the it's like I had to reshift, really stepping into just being a manager. And then now I'm just really being a creative director at that point. Like I'm just overseeing and making sure it still feels intentional around like what we were building. But that's happened a few times with me, with Ari and Lucky. Lucky I really did that for, through and through for a long time. But there was a point in time where Ari got her own stylist and I was happy because it's also like, this is showing she's experimental now. Now she's trying new dresses. Now she's trying a new look. And I think that's important. Like it can't just be one person kind of navigating, what that look and feel is all the time.
And on top of that is like, as you mentioned, this is a clear result of growth in the artist, right? Which means that like not only growth in terms of notoriety or people are starting to get the door, but like financially, because you said this to me and I'd love for you to even like really break this down because you mentioned styling is a luxury.
Oh, I did. I said it's a luxury service.
It's a luxury service.
Mm-hmm.
I sometimes sit here and I go, when some people talk about like glam and makeup and they talk tens of thousands of dollars and I'm like, not even a record has been put out to the world.
100%.
I'm like, what is happening?
A lot's happening.
Wild. Yeah.
Well, we live in America and this is a perceptive place. So people invest into the aesthetics of what they want to.
Yeah, that's why I don't get it because I'm Canadian.
I knew you were going to say that.
Maybe that's why.
I knew you were going to say that. But we lean in on the ego. They lean in on the vanity. Like, it just is what it is, right? We care about how we look.
Which is fair.
Yeah, and now we're talking about the music business. So,
yes, true.
You know what I'm saying? You're talking about entertainment.
Yeah.
It's just one of those places where you have to kind of show up and you have to be in your best, and the best look and feel that you can give.
But how can you do that in a way when the bag isn't there to spend?
Oh, so how was I crafty?
Yes. How are you doing this?
I do a lot of thrifting and consignment shop and a lot of, I'm the most thriftiest probably stylist, I would say. I didn't even have a big budget. I didn't have a big budget for a music video until Break Me Off. I had a little bit of a budget. Up Late, I had a little bit of a budget. But, a lot of consignment shops. I mean, I'd be out 10 hours a day, like going to Wasteland, going to Buffalo Exchange, going to Goodwill, going to the tailor, taking this jacket in, like making something work. Like I found a $50 suede jacket, I might crop it. I was just always figuring out ways to like, affordably make fashion.
Right.
And then I then was able to like meet designers who would loan me some clothes. I would say like Donnie from Nemise, I always will give him love because he was one of the first designers to like give me clothes for Lucky. He was like, take my keys, go to my house. And he's now one of the biggest men's luxury brand designers. But it was designers also taking a chance on me and being like, who's this artist? Because you had to think, they're like, who? Lucky who? Where is this gonna be? Who's gonna like?
Yeah.
And fashion is very cachet. So if you're not of a certain caliber, a lot of times designers don't want to loan you clothes.
So how did you convince them? This is prior to them really, being who they are in terms of artist stature, right? So like, what's the secrets here for you getting them to lend you or give you clothes?
My secrets is God has always put good people in my life. And I think all of this is because of my relationships. So at the time, my friend Rihanna, who I met, who was at the time styling J. Cole and eventually became his design director, I called her and I was like, yo, I need something for Lucky. She was like, oh, I just met this designer, called Donnie. And then I met Donnie, and then Donnie looked out. He was like, yo, you're a friend of Rihanna, you're a friend of mine. And we've all been friends ever since. And like, that's just been my career. Like, I've always been able to meet people at the right place and right time. And somehow like these angels fall from the sky and help me because I, have a good heart and I just want to make good art.
Definitely. Yeah. You're coming from a real place. You're somebody who really wants to make sure that the artist is being protected, making sure that the artist is being seen. Mm-hmm. You love what you do.
I love to make things look and feel beautiful. I love to leave things better than I found them. Like, that's just what I do. That's just what I'm sent for.
And so this is happening, and this is probably...
I feel like my career is like...
No, this is great.
Yeah.
Talk about? Like, but I mean, but this is, when we talk, I mean, I've had conversations on this podcast all the time, and like we can try and be as linear as possible.
Yeah.
But there's so many things that are happening at once, right? So as you're doing this with Ari, this is starting to happen. This is like, now you have another artist over here that you're working with, that you're managing, and that's Lucky Daye.
Yes.
Right? And so I gotta really understand what that world looked like, because you have two artists that are breaking at the exact same time. Most people are lucky if, you're lucky if you're getting one artist to break.
Yeah.
You got two breaking at the exact same time, so much so that they're both up for a NAACP award in 2019 as like breakthrough artists. What does this world look like?
So,
how are you managing? How are you still here with us enjoying this music business?
Lots of time away.
Yeah.
Lots of time off.
Fair enough.
Well, I'll say this. I was very ambitious. Like, I was, Dreamville, Interscope, and Ari was one world. And then when I moved to LA and I met Natalie, and she's like, yo, I want to take you to the studio in Burbank. That's Burbank studio happened to have D Mile. And D Mile, who is, fantastic producer.
So
don't even need to explain his Rolodex and his records, but he's like, yo, I have an artist I want to play for y'all. And he hit play, and it was Real Games. So it came in, bum, 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 bum. And I was like, oh, I have chills thinking about it, because I knew at that moment my life was going to change.
Wow.
I knew that music, which happened to be Painted the Album, was some of the best music I have heard in a very long time. The songwriting was impeccable. The production, the musicality was just so high level that I was like, this is amazing. What is happening, Lord? Natalie and I looked at each other like, this is it. Like, what? This is amazing. Yep. And so we eventually met, who at the time he was going by D Brown, Lucky Daye. And I just remember, his hair wasn't what it was at the time. Like, he was wearing a black hoodie. And I just knew he was destined to be such an impactful artist. But Fast forward, I mean, that happened really fast. Nat moved quick. Like, as soon as she heard the album, she's like, we need a deal. Like, we need to find a home for this. This has to get put out. And she ended up connecting with Tunji, who was at Keep Cool and RCA at the time. And Keep Cool was really interesting because they had such an eclectic roster as well. It was like Freddie Gibbs, it was Van Jess, he had Normani, and still on the RCA side, he was, WizKid, like, Tunji was doing a lot in music at that, in that time. And took a chance on Lucky Daye, and I remember just, it happened fast. Everything happened fast. It was like, okay, boom, signed, and then the next thing I know, I'm putting together a deck to sit in front of the label and meet all of these people at RCA, and I mean, I'm skipping so many things in the in-between time, but
what was that like?
I don't know. Peter Edge probably doesn't even remember, but I remember sitting in the corner of his office like, oh shit, I made it in here. This is crazy. And then I was in it for work, you know?
Yeah.
I think that was like, I'm from DC. DC is it's a nook, but it's like the best nook to be from. So then to be, I drove my car here to be in LA. Like, it took me 2.5 days to be in LA, and I just remember going for it. And I think that was a validating time because, Nat had been doing it for a while, and she's a big dog. She'd been in these room conversations. So I was just like, wow, this is happening. And then, Ari is over here too. Like, on a whole other
label and system.
Whole other crew. But it was such a beautiful full circle moment once he got signed, because I'm like, this is really happening. And that felt to me like the time where Nat and I were like super like, we're gonna break this shit.
Yeah.
And we broke that shit.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did.
Just from figuring out, his hair, his styling, his visuals, his artwork. I think from my side, I was doing my best just to make sure it was, it was palatable for the masses. But I knew I needed to make sure that he sat in a space where he was cool enough for the guys and attractive enough for the women. And I think that was my approach even to his styling, which was like, we're just gonna do some really cool button downs, we gonna wear these same jeans, these same Doc Martens, we're gonna put these rings on, we're gonna rock out, and you're gonna be, this is your silhouette, we're gonna stay consistent. And I think it worked. The visuals is where we kind of got a little bit more creative, aesthetically, he has some fit moments. But yeah, it was just, I don't know, I was really in a creative space too. So I was just hustling to make sure everything looked and felt right.
Talk to me a little bit more about silhouettes, because it doesn't get talked about enough.
Silhouettes are the most important thing to me. Now that's not important for every stylist, but for me.
Okay. What is a silhouette? Let's
a silhouette, it's if you put on a white light and you just put a body in the middle of it, you'll see that everyone's body has a different shape. And that shape is something that's actually identifiable if you think about it. Like when you think about, Shaq, Shaq's build and shape.
Shit.
You see the Air Jordan thing, that's a silhouette of Jordan. Like that it's something that resonates in people's minds.
I never thought about it like that. Yeah.
Yeah, silhouettes.
Okay, yeah.
And I always just I like clean lines. So I think what I did with Lucky was just make sure he always had like a very clean look and feel. Like nothing was ever too baggy. Everything kind of, if it was oversized, it fell right.
Yeah.
If he is gonna wear skinny jeans, it's the right shoe with it. Like those nuances of like the
very
structure.
specific.
Yes. I think it's important.
No, of course. I mean, like,
a skinny jean when you're wearing a big shoe doesn't make sense. A skinny jean when you're wearing a boot, that makes sense. Like,
how come?
I don't know. It's on his body type. It just made sense.
Like so this is just for his silhouette specifically, but it could be like everybody's silhouette is different.
Everyone has a different silhouette. Everyone.
Okay.
Azad's silhouette is, he likes sometimes a little bit of an oversized,
A little.
Yeah, he likes a little oversized.
It's like super oversized.
But you know what I mean? But you know that's his cut. Like, that's his look and feel.
Right. Okay, that's important to know, because I think a lot of, like, as managers who aren't stylists, I don't know how often we're actually paying attention to that.
Yeah.
Okay, you would agree.
Yes.
And it's kind of this thing where it's like a bit overlooked, which is not,
That's not artist development though.
What's that?
That's artist development.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It's those little things to me that you have to pay attention to. It makes a difference if I see an artist that's emerging on stage with a chain on versus not a chain on. Like if an artist that I know has an open deep V and a chain on, I'm like, dang, he trying too hard. I wish he didn't have that chain on. Versus if he went up there without it, I'd be like, oh, he's just chilling. He's just up there singing. So I'm not even, now as a consumer, I'm like, oh, he's being himself.
And is this dependent on where they are in their career though?
I think that's just, me personally, I just don't like too much.
Okay.
I just like less is more.
Got you.
I do think it matters because I think that there is a time where you might want to, you want to have a couple chains on and a little bust down, great. That's fine.
I hear you.
If that's what you want to lean into, but I'm just always a less is more. Because I think that's also what the fans want. Like sometimes they don't, that's an attainable, especially now I'm looking at something that I can attain to or aspire to be like or aspire to look like versus you're wearing a gajillion bunch of things and having a bunch of things on that I can't, fathom looking or grabbing or doing,
I mean, I think you got it right because like if you look at the landscape of R&B today and like who's really popping and really Leon Thomas is a great example
chillin'.
And I think super chilling.
Super chill.
And it feels like y'all kind of ushered this era in many ways.
I thank you.
This is how I look at it,
I think Lucky opened a lot of doors.
Yeah.
Musically, I think his sophisticated R&B started so much around, sound in R&B. I think,
It was very different before he came in.
Yeah. I mean, you got to think, what was cracking at the time was Daniel Caesar.
Yeah.
Black, Bryson Tiller.
Uh-huh.
A lot of the guys were younger guys. They were swaggy guys. And here comes Lucky, who's, a little bit older from New Orleans, kind of comes out of nowhere and he dominates this category. I mean, the first album got 4 nominations off
Grammys,
rip. Yeah. And I just remember being like, whoa, like he really snapped on the R&B tip. But now when I look at like the Giveons and I look at the Leon Thomases, it's kind of beautiful because it's like I can see where there's influence or where there was just inspiration.
Right.
So I'm glad to have been a part of that era.
Being a part of 2 eras, you're talking, what was it like to? Oh,
right.
What?
No, you were at your original question, like what was happening when they were both going?
Yeah, well, that's right. Like, so, well, I was going to ask that for sure, because there was a lot going on. So how are you managing this? Or do you have people working with you at this point, like under your management team?
So
it's a lot to juggle.
Yeah, so luckily Justin and I had a lot of support with Dreamville and Interscope.
And that's what I was going to ask, like even working with the labels, like what was that like in terms of those two?
I feel like I had to do a lot of proving to the labels because you got to think the labels have their people. They have marketing people, they have creative directors, they have art directors.
Coming up against it all the time.
I'm coming up and I'm like, I think this person should be the photographer. Yeah. This is the art director. This is what I think he should wear. This is the director I want to shoot. Like we were very specific on
You know why that happens though, right?
Why?
So the reason why, my understanding is that like labels will say that they want to have these certain individuals work in the project, like say example, like a marketing person.
Yep.
Because they're in-house.
Yes.
And that means that the revenue is going to go in-house.
Correct. It's their job. It's their job to do.
It's their job. So the line item goes back to whether it be UMG or RCA. So like that's why they want to have their people.
Correct.
But you're sitting here or I'm sitting here as a manager being like, your guy's good or your girl's good. Not as good as my person. And I'm telling you right now, cool, you can have revenue coming into the building like because you want to own the means of operation, or we can actually break these motherfuckers.
100%.
Yeah.
And Nat and I were called overly precious once with Lucky. But this was after a couple of failed videos that we didn't love from directors that we didn't handpick. This was after a time where...
What a crazy thing to say.
I know.
What a crazy thing to say.
I mean, and also like now we're like spending money. So it's like, now we really got to, now it's like, we really got to hone it in at this point.
Yeah.
Because I think that's like the beauty of the labels is they're used to being able to do trial and error. I think I was just coming from a place where like, happy to do trial and error, but is it working? Does this video look good? Does this image of her look great? Like, and I think that's what the real managers and artists.
This was with Ari. Yeah.
This was more with Lucky.
With Lucky, okay, sorry.
Yeah.
But trial and error is like to hear even like, yeah, labels are used to trial and error.
Yes.
Like, yeah, you could do trial and error with 100 different artists.
100%.
Because all you need is one to really break.
Correct.
It takes care of everything. I don't have that luxury.
I know. Oh, don't even get me started now. On the independent side, whoo.
Start.
Can't even make no mistake. Don't make no mistakes.
Yeah, no, it's tough. It's tough. Yeah, especially with like if there's no revenue coming in.
Right.
Yeah.
But I would say when we were building, I was being very mindful of splitting my time.
Mm-hmm.
So and I'm pretty hyper organized. Nat will tell you that. I was like 50% of the time Ari, 50% of the time Lucky. So like Ari and Lucky's albums somehow synced up around the same time, which it didn't hit me until they both had sold out shows on the same night in LA.
Oh, wow.
Lucky sold out the Echo.
Wow.
And Ari, I believe she was at the Wiltern. Is it the Wiltern? Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
And I went to both shows and I made sure they were both ready. And I jumped from those places. And I remember being a shell of myself also because this is also right before the albums. So I'm making sure that the delivery and artworks are both good on both of their ends. Everyone's happy. We're still doing all of our press stuff. I'm still pulling up to the album releases. Like I was out in these streets, okay?
No shit.
But I think that's also what it took to kind of make sure that they, had what they needed and felt supported. Now, when I had Outliers with Natalie, our goal was to always build out our management company.
Right.
So I had one assistant. Her name is Christine Daphne, and she still works in music. She actually works with Kiah Victoria in 10 Summers, which I'm very proud of. And I couldn't afford no assistant. We couldn't afford a team. We couldn't afford infrastructure.
Right.
So it was a lot of work that Natalie and I carried as far as, trying to manage Lucky and then also kind of, nurture the producers. Varen Wade had LMA. He was getting booked and busy with sessions. D-Mile was evolving at the time because, now Lucky is out and everyone wanted to get in with him, which is then you got the Victoria Monets and the Joyce Rices and managing those schedules. So Nat and I really kind of like split up a lot of the work as far as...
Is he working with Bruno at this time as well?
This came just...
After?
This came after.
So this came right out, so off the heels of all that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And yeah, I mean, if we had a little bit of investment in resources, I would have loved to continue to build Outliers. We just didn't have it. We're still just getting our little commissions from Lucky at that point. Like, there was no real money being made. We were just thugging it.
How come you guys didn't get investment? Or
we tried. We had a couple of conversations. You know how this industry goes.
Yeah, so you tried in the industry to try and get some things going.
Yeah, we had some interesting conversations with different labels, other people that were starting their labels. It's all about the right fit. You got to find the right shoe that fits. And I think me and Nat were just like, we'd rather thug it than just align and like give up. Now we're giving up equity to someone who does,
Right, yeah.
It's just, you got to find the right people.
Depends on what they like. Yeah, you're going to give up equity if they're going to give you a certain amount. Like if they're going to give you cash, bread.
Oh, some people weren't. They were just like, we'll help you, but we want 25%. And it's just like 25% of what commission?
Yeah. From what?
25% of what commission?
Yeah.
I think the main thing, and management is a thankless job, right? Like it just is. Mm-hmm. It's one of those things where you have to really believe in what you're doing. You have to know the risk of what you're doing. It's really not for everyone because you can spend 4 or 5 years trying to develop and break an artist and not make a penny. Mm-hmm. It's not until they start to break and it's not until they start to, sell merch and sell tickets that you can actually make a sustainable living. Unless, to your point, you are funded and backed by, you have capital somewhere.
Yeah.
And I think, I was just ambitiously trying to just, I was just thugging it out. I was like, I'll wait for my commissions to make sense when they break. And, you know, by the time that they did, it was also my time to exit, you know?
Right.
It was just...
Yeah, because in order to like, that's the one thing that I think a lot of young managers, they should come to realize this. And, you know, when you have momentum, you definitely need to start thinking about how you can raise capital.
100%.
Yeah. And you're not going to raise capital through any of the traditional label systems.
No.
Maybe you can with Live Nation, because I know Live Nation does these management deals.
Sure.
But, you know,
yeah, then you become a JV. Now you're becoming a label, and then you get a JV.
Sure,
you get a little, you know, those are the routes.
Yeah, I would recommend now, because I'm just learning as much as I possibly can. Is like, if you have some momentum going, you can raise capital based off of like friends and family, like a safe pre-seed.
For sure.
Right? And go and say like, I'm gonna raise $500,000 based off of a safe. It doesn't convert into equity unless you get acquired or you IPO or you go into a seed round, right? And so that's like, and all they do at the end of the day is like, you go to friends and family. Well, they call it friends and family, but like who have some capital, disposable, and be like, hey, can you cut a check for $50,000 based off of a safe?
Yeah.
They're gonna believe in the founder. You get a little debt together. And that's how you can raise capital. Now, it's not easy by any means, but if you have motion and there's revenues coming in and your financial hygiene is good, like, it can happen. You know what I mean? It
totally can.
Yeah, it can happen.
It didn't happen for Natalie and I at the time, but...
Were you raising on a safe?
We weren't raising anything. We were just trying to get by.
Yeah.
Like, seriously.
Because you got so many things going on.
We were trying to get by.
Yeah.
And you got to think, this is when they're on tours. They both had their headlining tours. And I'll say it, like, I didn't have any traditional training to know what it even meant to scale or to create an infrastructure.
Yeah,
I'm 25, 26 with my head on swivel trying to break 2 artists in 2019, 2020. That's all I was focused on. So then to think about saving money or to think about acquiring more money, I didn't even think I would not be with them, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like, it was just like, I was just so in it. But I know now, like, I think everything that I've been through has allowed me to like take those lessons and now channel that into like this new chapter, this new space. But at the time, I didn't know.
Yeah.
I was just waiting. I was waiting for my little commissions.
Yeah. It's easy to say after the fact, right?
Yeah.
And just be like, I could have done this or that. But you're so dialed in because, as you know, artist management, and you're styling, and you're being a creative director, and on top of that, it's like there's only so much brain capacity.
For sure. I was spent.
Yeah.
I was so burnt. By the time COVID came around and I was no longer working with Ari and Lucky at that point in time, I was so exhausted from the music business just in general. I think I pushed it to my absolute max. And I'm thankful that I had those experiences, but I would be lying if I didn't say at the end of it all, I was tired.
If you go back and can correct some things, like what advice would you give to someone so they wouldn't get burnt out like that?
My advice? Long walks every day, twice a day. I was not taking care of myself also. Like, I wasn't eating well. Like, I'm going out, we're drinking, like, I'm partying too. I'm outside, like, we're in London, I'm lit.
Yeah.
Things are lit. Like, what do you want me to do? I didn't have the self-discipline to kind of know how to set boundaries with myself and with what it meant with my work. Natalie and I lived together. Our office was in our apartment. Like, there was no escaping it. It was like, there was one day I remember, like, we had Ari, Lucky, Tone, Camper, and a dog in the house. Like, just imagine, an audio push comes over. It's like,
jeez.
We were just creating such a beautiful, I always say we had like the living single house. It was just so much energy. And I wasn't thinking about just, all right, at 8 o'clock, y'all, we gonna turn it off.
No, it's not gonna happen.
Yeah, it's just not. No, in my 20s, like I'm in it.
Yeah, you're excited to be in it.
I was so excited. I'm still excited to be in it, but at that point, I wasn't thinking. of discipline. But my advice would to just definitely be like to take your time. Take your time and also like save your money while you're making it.
Yep.
Because, you know, once an artist breaks too, like, you know, those endorsements, those brand deals, those, you know, one-off commercials, those are, you know, blessings for the whole team at that point.
For
you
sure.
know, managers don't make money on the music side, especially when I mean, some do, some don't, but
Well, not the label, no.
not exactly.
More times than not, when you're
That's what I'm saying.
when you're at a major label, yeah.
Yeah, it's very small.
Very small.
It's very
Yeah.
small.
Well, you get the money off of the advances.
Correct.
And that's
Still,
every
and that's one
18
time.
months. Yeah,
Right.
one time, 18 months, right?
So you gotta think, I'm still not financially in a good space. By the time things are cracking, like, I'm just making sure I can pay my rent, get my hair done, get my nails done, and travel when I need to. But
Yeah.
I didn't even have enough to retain or save
But
money.
you're so focused on the brand of the artist
I
as
was
well, too. And
locked in.
Yeah, and and you're also focused on the well-being of the artist.
Yes.
You know, before you are your own
yeah.
well-being.
Oh, yeah.
Right? That's just the role of the manager.
Yeah.
And so as you're thinking about the brand and the artist, like, what do you think separates those artists who can build a deep identity and brand versus those who don't?
I don't know if it's like cliche to say, but it's like either you have vision or you don't.
As artists.
Sometimes artists don't have vision, and that's okay. Like, they can sing.
You think it could work that way?
Yeah, that's why you hire people to come in and help with the vision. Like, you know, I think that there are certain people, like, perfect example, and I think he's a great example. Like, Tyler, the Creator, has vision.
Right.
He knows what he wants to do. He knows what he wants to experiment with. He might watch something and be like, yo, I want to take this and do that. I think that there are some artists that just know that their music is good and they don't know how to package it. They don't know what they should look like. They don't know what their visuals should look like. And that's okay, right? Like, that's why that's why the music industry is supposed to have artist development and have managers and creatives around to help figure out what that is.
That's a fact.
But there are some people that just they know what they want to look like, you know? I think, it's like an ordained thing. I think Rosalia is another good example. It's like she has,
true.
you know what I mean? Like, she knows how she wants to, and I'm sure her team as well, like, even just knowing the right people to put around to help you execute that vision is having a good vision for what you want to do. I just think, you know, some people just have it and some people just don't.
Yeah. And it's almost like you have there's always this debate in terms of like brand exposure versus alignment. You know, and it's just like, okay, we got to figure out how to get exposure. That's why I think so many things are just failing today, or just like kind of like here today, gone tomorrow, because it's all about exposure.
Yes.
There's no alignment. I don't even know who you are. Like,
Correct.
What's your archetype? What's the brand that you're trying to deliver to people? Because you could confuse the universe if you're just all over the fucking place.
I think we're in a time of that right now where a lot of artists are, you'll see them, but you don't know them. You don't know who they are.
Right.
When you hear and say Shea Butter Baby, there's something in you that, you
That's
go
an
somewhere.
era.
Yeah, you
Era.
go somewhere.
Yeah.
And I think that's how you know that that's brand alignment. Because now I'm transcending your heart and mind because I'm going to remember this feeling or this moment.
Yeah.
And I think that's also having impact. Like, you have to have, I prefer impact over the exposure sometimes, because that's how you even, like, my favorite artist of all time is Alice Smith. And, while some people know her and some people don't, what I know is her sound. I know what she's gonna deliver when she's on stage. And that, to me, is her brand. She's just an incredible singer. She may or may not need all the bells and whistles of a music video or dancers or, crazy aesthetics, but I think that that's okay. There's a space for everyone in this music game.
Yeah.
It's just about nurturing what's your lane. And I think a lot of times people try other people's lane. Like, you see an artist, you're like, well, why did you make an album that sounded like that? Or why did you put that on? It's because they're trying on their next thing, as opposed to just nurturing what they are.
Do you think sometimes artists just come a little bit too early though?
What you mean?
They're early to a new sound or a new style.
Oh yeah, that happens.
Right? And people don't get it and it's confusing. How do you I mean, yeah, that's a great question for you. Like, how do you identify if it's too soon or too early? Because it could be the next thing, but you just got here a little too early. It's not, the public isn't ready.
I'm experiencing that now.
Okay.
Actually,
How
with
so?
the 2 artists that I'm working with and developing.
Who are these artists, by the way?
I managed Kiah Victoria and Uno Hype. Thank you. Just kidding.
I got you.
Cut that out, but it's funny either way.
Keep it in. Keep it in.
But no, specifically, I know.
It's like the most white person.
No, I will say this, and this is I'm learning because now I done had experience working with artists that had majors, and now I'm super on the independent side. I'm trying to find a distribution home, support resources, and all the things, right? And what I learned with hip hop and rap specifically, that genre, people do not like. I don't want to say that people don't like to take a risk. Let me rephrase that. Taking a risk on conscious rap. It baffles me that they're less able to take a risk on conscious rap, but they'll throw a shit ton of money on some kid who got 50 million streams on TikTok, and I don't know where he's saying in his song, but he from Florida and he got 2.5 million followers. Like, it's become a numbers game.
Yeah.
And I think that's where like the industry is a little, I don't know, it's a little bit wonky because they want you to show up and be prepared, but then it's like, hey, I have this really good, I just have good music that should deserve the same type of exposure, that should deserve the same type of, press and push, but yet people are hesitant to take a risk on things these days, especially when it doesn't look like what is working.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
And I didn't realize that about rap. Which is why I'm just like, I'm so thankful that the Grammys just happened, and that category to me was such a beautiful thing because it's like Jid's album was fire, Eclipse album was fire, Kendrick album was fire, and like rap and hip hop still gets overlooked in certain rooms,
right?
And especially like conscious.
And these are artists that have something to say,
and they have something to say, but so it's just one of those things about like, I'm cool with the slow burn. Not everyone wants to take the long road. Not everyone wants to kind of, take their time and figure out how to break things. I think I like artists that are just themselves, and eventually their time comes. Like,
so what's the approach then to
what?
To trying to break them into consciousness? Or
breaking? You mean breaking the conscious artist into music?
Into consciousness? Yeah.
It's really finding the right partner, finding the right...
Are you putting any music out, though, in the meantime?
Yeah, we're putting out music.
Yeah, like independently?
And making sure, like, the music sounds good enough, too,
Sure.
Yeah. But yeah, I think it's just, to your point, it's really just creating your own momentum, and not chasing the analytics of it all. It's just like, let's just put out good music first and let everything come later.
Yeah.
And sometimes the music just needs to exist, and if it falls on deaf ears, you don't know if a year, 3 years later, a record could pick up or a moment could pick up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think it's just all a matter of like just shooting your shot.
It's crazy to me how, you help break 2 phenomenal artists, and you'll go and you'll still have these conversations with these labels and these distributors, and they'll know that. And it'll be like, yeah, come back to me when it's like
100%. I've been getting that so much.
Yeah, it's just like, yo, you're not saying that like because of you they made it, but you had a part in this.
Yeah, I got a good ear. I got a good taste. I was a little early.
Yeah. And they'll come back and they'll be like, all right, cool, keep us posted. Love what I heard. Okay, well, if you love what you heard, is that not enough? Oh, it's the numbers.
It isn't enough. It is the numbers.
It's the numbers, 100%.
It is. It's so funny, and I'm glad that we're talking about this. I know a lot of artists that have a hard time like crossing that threshold. And like I always say it, just put the music out anyway. It doesn't matter.
Same.
It just doesn't matter at this point.
Yeah.
You can figure out as long as you have, I think the key right now, and this is something that I'm learning too, especially because I've been getting a lot of no's, is like just have a strategy. And it doesn't have to be a crazy strategy. It's just like, what are you doing and who are you past that one song release? Like, how are we still driving your narrative? Are you still performing in live places? Like, are you still doing your shows? Like, Kiah and I did a show at the Zebulon Cafe, and this was like all right, girl, we're on the right track, but we have finally got an open date, because you know how hard it is if you're not really booking with an agent.
Right.
We're like, oh, we just want a date. And in a week and a half, we sold 250 tickets.
Sick.
Great.
That's great.
100%.
Yeah.
Now, we had to do that 30 more times in the year,
yeah.
but it's just like
across the country.
It's, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's just like those stepping stones of like, forget it. We'll do our show, we'll promote our show, we'll invite our people out, we'll invite the agents out. Like, so many people, you know, rely on agents, but it's like, you really just got to do it yourself sometimes.
Real talk.
You just got to put it out. You got to do your artwork. You got to figure out what else you're going to put along with the single mixtape.
Especially with the live component as well, too. That's like, just go and get your reps up. Doesn't mean that
Just
you
go
have
perform.
to go perform. Yeah, just go perform.
Yeah, open for someone, do the thing.
Even an open mic, even sometimes. Just like get the practice. I mean, because like it's way harder to sing in front of 15, 20 people who don't know who the fuck you are.
And you need to be ready.
You got to be ready.
You have to be ready.
Got to get the reps up.
Got to get the
I tell the
reps up.
story all the time. Like, Jesse and I would go to this little this like community called Kensington Market back in Toronto. And she'd go and she'd perform in these open mics all the time, and she would just like kind of get her reps up. Or if she wasn't performing there, we'd go to a 7-Eleven at 2 a.m. There's street lamps there, just cranking the music.
That's what we need to get back to too.
You know what's that?
Just singing outside. Just sing outside.
Just crank the music. And her records, like, you know, how to perform and kind of stuff like that. Or we had this place called the Rehearsal Factory that had a friend there who ran it. We'd go in there and we'd practice before some shows where she would do a showcase. So it's just like, just get the reps in.
Yeah.
It's important to get the reps in because, like, not everybody's going to get an agent out the gate. It's hard to get an agent.
Yeah.
You know, and agents aren't taking chances either because they're
not, because they gotta get that money.
They gotta get the money. They gotta, they gotta turn a profit. Yeah, they gotta get revenue. So, and it's important as well that what you're saying, because I think the internet makes people believe that everybody's a superstar overnight.
100%.
And yeah, some people get lucky.
Yeah.
There's no question.
Yo, there's a lot of lucky artists right now. Oh my gosh. I just went to this one place. Man, I'm not going to name who it was, but I went to this label and they had another label and they showed me their roster. And I said, I don't know a name on this roster. I knew one name out of their 20 artists. And all those artists had over 5, 10, 12 million streams. And I was just like, I've never heard of it. I don't even know the touch point as to where I would even find the song. Like, where am I even listening to it if I'm not, you know what I mean?
Right.
If I'm not following them, how, that's like that, what I say is like the hard part with music right now. The touch points as to where you're discovering music is change.
Yeah.
You know, it used to be, you know, at one point in time, I think especially when we were doing music with Ari and Lucky, like playlist that was when Spotify were like, they're looked at as curators.
Yeah.
Now not
editorial,
so editorial. You know. Now it's like, well, am I hearing the record on the radio? Am I hearing the record in a cafe? Am I hearing it out at a restaurant? Where am I seeing visual? Like everything is so vast and spread out that it's like the discovery points are changing. But it's also allowing for those 25 artists to exist and have their own fucking fan base, which is a beautiful thing. It's just really strange to me also, where I'd be like, 5 million people? I'm the one of the non-5 million that never heard of this song?
Well,
Like, what? Am I that late?
But how many of those 5 million are actually going to come to a show, though? Off of a record.
Now talk about it.
One song.
That's why we're gonna do that Zebulon Cafe show and get them 250 people.
Oh, you haven't done it yet?
We did.
You did it. Okay.
But I'm saying that's why I nurture, like, yo, we'll do our own shows. Like, we did The Baby's All Right with Laycon, and we had, like, I don't know, 250 tickets, but it was Monday, so I'm like, well, that's good enough.
Monday 250 tickets is great.
You know, it's the small wins, I think. And I think when you're trying to do things independently, you have to be good with those. Like, you have to be grateful for those small things, because 250 can turn into 2,500. 2,500 can turn into 25,000. Easy.
Yeah.
And I watched it with Ari and Lucky. Lucky's first tour, we had, you know, Ombre and oh my gosh, I don't want to forget his name. Josh Dean.
Yeah.
And that tour was so great, but I also was just like, dang, like, he already selling 300 tickets this first. We were doing 300, 400 cap rooms just off rip. And that's just such a beautiful starting place for artists because it's like, those fans are going to come back and see you every time you come back to that
Absolutely.
town. They're going to come and buy your
Especially,
merch.
I mean, if you put on a good show.
Yes. And that's really the music game to me is like connecting with the fans and having shows and having people buy your merch. And that's how managers make their commission, you know?
Yeah.
Those are the hard things.
Yeah.
It's good to make money on music and streaming. Like, yes, I think so. But you got to have a smashing record, you know? That has to be a smash.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, it has to be.
Yeah. If it's not
a smash, forget it. A couple $100.
Or you got to have like,
you got to have a radio
label deal type, you know what I mean? Have something going crazy for you and then get a really good label situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you need a radio record. And I know people will be like, oh, radio drives more than people understand. You know, I think the fact that my grandma can get into the car and be like, oh my God, is this your artist? That's an entry touch point for someone to discover. And then that travels to the kids that are sitting in the back seat. Like, radio is still so important. And it's hard for independent artists to crack radio.
Absolutely.
Without that's like the major, secret weapon right there to me. It's like they can push a button and 25 PDs are now getting your artist's record. That's a big deal.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that is a big deal.
It's a big deal.
It's true.
People don't want to talk about it. I know people are like, oh, it's a payola game, but it's really a territory game. Distribution is based off of geography. Geography has people. So when you think about the fact that a major label can push a button and this record can now hit these markets and these territories, that's a big, that drives sales, that drives tickets, that drives so many things. It is the exposure next to TV, you know?
Steve Rifkin came on here and he had a really interesting observation. He felt like college radio was really starting to do its thing as well.
I love that he said that.
Yeah.
Ari used to work that college circuit.
Really?
Definitely. We did so many college shows. College is great because you're creating a fan for at least another 5 to 7 years. Like, you got to think, these are their key
formative years. Yeah.
So to have an artist then take a step to come to the school or to come onto the radio show, I mean, that just does so much for their fan base. I think that's accurate.
Makes total sense in terms of like how important colleges and universities are because you're very impressionable at that age too.
Homecoming circuits, get on them. They're important.
Yeah.
Doing those homecoming stages, they're everything.
Yeah. No, that's a good point. What other things do you think artists need to be doing in terms of establishing a good base for fans, for audience to really connect and dial in with their music?
I think letting people into, which I know is hard, like the personality, like who they are. Sometimes
I didn't do that today.
Again, giving Ari her flowers for this. She used to get on IG Live all the time. And I remember that. That was, she would be talking to her fans.
Yeah.
She would be engaging with her fans. And I think you know this already, I have a love-hate relationship with social media now, but if you're an artist, if you're an artist, I think it's good to I think I was watching Charlotte Day Wilson. She was promoting her album and then she was also opening up a restaurant in her hometown. It's I want to see who you are. People want to see who you are outside of the music sometimes. It doesn't always have to be perfect. You don't need to be fly in every picture. There are some artists that kill that, aesthetically nailing it, but there still has to be some type of connection. And I think being able to, whether it is doing those free shows, which is what Daniel Caesar just did, just pop it. I'm in Silver Lake.
That was great.
You got to do stuff like that where it's just, natural. Sometimes you just gotta do shit.
Yeah.
You just have to do shit.
Yeah.
And that sounds so generic, but it's not overthinking, doing a pop-up and singing on the street or, asking that artist if you can open or asking that brand if you can be in their lookbook. Sometimes everything doesn't have to be so monetary and quantified.
I agree.
And I think we're just kind of now coming out of that fog of just everything also has to be perfect. It's I think people are looking for authenticity. And do you watch Industry?
Well,
the show Industry?
No.
Oh, well.
Is that on Netflix?
No, it's on HBO.
What is it? Okay, tell me about it.
It's
About the music business?
No, it's actually about, it's like, there are some parallels, but it's called Industry, and it's about a young woman named Harper, Black woman, who works in like the highest of high, like trading.
Oh, no.
Wall Street.
Oh, sick,
stuff.
no.
And basically, this one guy says the same thing, which is like, sincerity is the most, sincerity is the new equity to me. And I think people have to get back into being like authentic in themselves as opposed to being like performatively, aesthetically perfect. I think we're coming out of that a bit. And I think fans are coming out of that a bit. I think people want to feel connected, especially now when it's like, I have to go discover you, or now I'm actually spending money to support you. It's like people want to feel like you're real and not just taking my $150, you know what I mean?
Right.
And that's why Kendrick will always win, It's like, you have to be real these days.
It just like, I mean, think about just the value that you can provide. It's like, you have to give value. It's all artists in the business when it comes to being public facing and you're trying to grow your audience, how you have to serve. It's service to the fans at the end of the day, right?
Yeah.
And it's all about providing value, whether it's the music, whether it's a live show, whether it's Daniel Caesar popping up in Trinity Bellwoods and performing for 5,000 people. Like, all of these things are different types of ways that you can provide value.
For sure.
To the audience. And that has to come within as well.
Yeah.
You can't fake that kind of shit.
No. And you have to want to do it past the exposure and visibility.
Yeah, exactly. Because people can sniff that shit out immediately. Like, if you go and you pull up to a meet and greet and sign, and like, they're gonna know if you're having a good time or not. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you can be there like, just like, I don't want to be here. It'll show.
Yeah.
So like.
And I paid $100 to wait in line for you to give me a mediocre high.
Yeah.
Like,
and a quick
never
photo.
Do that again.
Exactly. You lose that fan right away.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you think are do you think there's any like mistakes that are hard to undo later in terms of image?
Yes, I do. I do.
You thought of a specific moment?
I did. You can't, once you undo the thread, you can't unsee shit. So like, I can't unsee certain things at certain points. It's like, that's not hitting
Don't
anymore.
Forgive? Yeah, you don't forgive the artist for...
Oh. Do I forgive? Sometimes not, because they like make the decision. Like, you chose that.
Yeah.
And if that's what you chose, that's great. Like, that's fine. But it's just like...
How do you work... So, say... I don't know if this has happened with me, but like, if an artist does make a decision that you don't agree with, like, and it doesn't work out well, and this isn't to no specific situation, but I'm just thinking, like, how do you kind of like help shift the narrative if the narrative publicly has gone into like a bit of a different direction than you were hoping for?
Sometimes that you also have to know when to like take a step back and not shift the narrative and let it be.
Just a sage.
Just
a sage. And
just so
let it be.
I've always, as a collaborator, all I can do is offer my perspective.
It's true.
I'm thankful that I have a unique perspective on things, and I have my own set of tastes and likes and dislikes. And, that's just my skill set, right? And I think sometimes you have to know when some things are worth a fight and some things aren't. I know for me, for everything that I've worked on with all of the artists that I've ever collaborated with, I'd always try to put my best foot forward, right? But if it's not being received that way, that I can't, there's nothing I can do to fix it and control it. I'm an ultimate surrender. It's just like... Really? Yeah, I'll surrender, for sure.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna fight. I can't fight too hard for... You can't fight for something too hard when like the people around you don't believe in what you're fighting for at that point. Like, you just have to know when to like tap out. It's like, if you want to do
I've learned that.
That's great.
Yeah.
Like, that's cool. Rock out. I'm just gonna tell you this is what I think.
Yeah.
And this is,
You're counsel at the end of the day.
I'm just counsel.
You're like, here are the options.
That's great. If you want to, great. Yeah. And if you don't want to, that's okay too. No sweat. I think as I've gotten older, I've been able to like take things less personal when it comes to like, like it's not, you know what I mean? Like, it's not me, it's just okay.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
just not meant to be.
Right.
But that just comes with time, like, anything else.
What's it like? Because you, as you mentioned, you're evolving into creative director, and I want to talk about this creative direction stuff as well.
Mm-hmm.
We talk about a lot of different things here. I think this is awesome. But of all the three things that you do, or I don't want to even say three, there's a plethora of other things that you do, but management, styling, creative direction. What do you enjoy the most?
Oh my day. I really love artist management.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy? It's like...
No, it's not. I get it. But other people will listen to what we're talking about.
They're going to be like, she's tripping.
They're nuts, yeah.
You know what it is? It's not, and I think artist management is,
so close to culture. It's just,
yeah. I just feel like I like helping people. And most artists are people. So I just like that part. I like helping you achieve and exceed your wildest dreams. I like seeing the transformation to you being unsure to certain and confident. Like, that's just like the beautiful journey to me. Like, it is a personal thing for me. Even when I style, it's personal. I think, I love styling, but unfortunately, I've had some injuries from styling. Like, I've had a really bad back over the past couple of years.
Styling?
From styling. Picked up a duffel bag.
Oh, shit.
Wrong once. And people don't talk about styling is a very physically intense job if you're committed to it.
Talk about it.
Oh, I mean, you're driving around all day, you're picking up clothes, you're picking up bags, you're packing bags, you're undoing bags, you're setting up racks, you're putting on clothes. There's a lot of physical movement just doing the job. I have to be at stores, I have to go to people, it's sometimes a 10-hour day. I'm driving around, picking up things, shopping, and everyone's like, oh, get an assistant. But it's like, yeah, an assistant. We don't have enough budget for an assistant. We got to do the things.
Right.
But I pulled my back picking up a duffel bag, and I couldn't walk for like 3 months.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, it was really bad.
Was it a disc or something that you...
I have a thing called straight back now. It's like a really long name. And I went to Myo Detox in Studio City.
Guys, they're from Toronto.
They are.
Gotta say it.
Yo.
From Toronto. Any chance I get.
I don't even mean to shout them out, but Myo Detox, Dr. Jelena.
Okay.
She is an angel. She gives me myofascial. She gave me myofascial treatments.
It's the best.
Twice a week for a month because I had pain in my leg. It was spreading to my hips.
Yeah.
I just pulled it real bad.
They're the best. Yeah, Vinny. I'm like, he's the founder, and I love that. Myo Detox. I go there. I had a problem too. I had tore my meniscus in my knee, and so I had to get physio, and I did it at Myo. Whole bunch in Toronto.
Game changer.
I want to say her name was Kelly. She was great.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Angels. They're all angels.
Yeah. So it helped a lot.
It helped a lot, yeah. And I just started styling back again like this past couple of years. Since COVID, I mean, styling has always been my bread and butter. Like, I'm thankful for all the people that I've been able to dress and agencies I've been able to work with. My girl Rihanna.
Yeah, some of these people are, can I say them here? Because it's...
Sure.
And I hope I got it right, but it's Chronix, Stell, Melanie Fiona. Shout out Melanie Fiona. Shout out Child, Yanni, Alton, Mason, Sean Ross, Deion Sanders. You styled Primetime?
For a Nike shoot.
That's crazy.
He kind of already had his style. I just made sure.
Delane Green, Kyle Kuzma, J. Cole, you were assistant styling for...
Yes, with my girl Rihanna.
Yeah, Chef Kwame, geez.
I'm thankful. My people call me and I deliver every time. Kwame is one of those clients too, where he's like, twice a year, he's like, yo, I need my closet redone. Like, I need to get it together. Or, I'm able to personal shop for them now all at this point because I've just been working for them. But yeah, I love styling. It's just... you
still prefer management?
Yeah, I've gotten the itch to get back. So I took a break. So from 2020 to 2022, which is the top of COVID, I stopped working in management completely, and I was just full-time styling. And there wasn't much going on because the industry shut down.
Right.
So at that point, I was just taking what I could get. And then in 2022, my friend was like, do you have a resume? And I was like... I have a resume. Of course I don't.
Yeah.
I have a resume.
That.
Like,
Yeah.
did you see my plaque? No.
Says double platinum. That's what that says right there.
Okay.
Yeah.
But anyway, I humbled myself and she was like, look, she's like, girl, put together your resume. And this is my sister, Lula. She's worked at Capital One for 8 years. She is my best friend, my mentor, and really has guided me throughout my entire journey coming to LA. And she was like, you're going to pick 4 places to apply to. And I was like, all right, I'll do it. So I applied to...
Sorry.
Because you know me, I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Where am I going to work? Who's going to hire me? I've been a freelance entrepreneur. Anyways.
Oh, for nobody.
Well, my resume looks crazy because it was like for 6 years.
Yeah.
It's like, what am I? Stylist, manager. It's like, it's all over. But thankfully, I applied for a job at Condé Nast. I applied for a job at Nike. I keep applying for Apple.
You heard that. Ebro, do something.
Come on. And then I applied for a job at SoundCloud. Mm-hmm. And SoundCloud hit me back and I became Associate Creative Director at SoundCloud for a year. So from 2022 to 2023, I landed my first big girl job. I had insurance and everything. 401k. It was awesome. And it was cool because I was on the studio team and we sat in between the music team. And we sat across brand. So I was able to help work on, different, like I did a campaign called Labor of Love, which featured 4 artists and their love outside of music with the Kiah car. I did Scenes SoCal Soul, which is Scenes it's a docuseries that SoundCloud adopted where they kind of highlight different music scenes in different areas. So I convinced SoundCloud to pick up R&B, which had Destin Conrad in it, Alex Isley, Jack Dine, D Mile, Fauna Hughes, India Shawn, and Matt Keen. And I was just...
Can I ask, how are you convincing them to pick this up? What's the conversation look like in a building like that?
Ooh, that's I feel like we need a whole other conversation for this.
We got time.
Music corporate space.
Please. We'd love to know.
Well, I'll say this. The music, first of all, SoundCloud is a music tech company. It's a really big company. They're in Berlin, London, New York, LA. And because I was on the studio team, I really didn't have say-so in the talent selection. That was on the music team. Mm-hmm. That's like the music and marketing team's decision. All I could do was present an idea. And at the time, I think the CEO, she's now the COO of Even, Lauren Seawood.
Oh, yeah.
She was my CMO at the time at SoundCloud. Small world.
She's dope.
Yeah. And my VP Malik, he pushed for me. Like, he was like, yo, this is dope. Like, just put it in front of the music team to see if they like it. And at the time, there was like
a deck or something?
Yeah, I'm a deck queen. I can make that deck. I can make the story come to life.
Yeah. You can deck a deck.
I can deck a deck.
All right.
So the deck is done, and now the music team is throwing out names, and it just so happened we had this really big spreadsheet of all these names of R&B artists in California, and they all happened to just kind of be my peers, and that's how that happened. They trusted me to do this R&B thing. I think the other genre was like, I don't even remember the name of it. It's a weird genre. I don't want to call it weird. Digicore? Digicore music? Yeah. And I was like, I don't know about Digicore. I'm like, R&B is having a moment. I'm like, R&B is still a thing. And so, they allowed me to pick that R&B genre for that Scenes. And I did a first on SoundCloud series with artists like Ecstasy and Rosemarie and Riella and Bathe. Kilo Letitia, she's from Maryland. I was just making these digital moments feel impactful because they were all really good emerging artists, and just bringing in different creative teams like directors and photographers to kind of help shapeshift the stories.
So you're bringing all these people? Yeah,
we're just vetting and picking out friends and picking out directors that could execute the vision for SoundCloud. But
and you did it for a year?
Did it for a year. They did a 35% company layoff in...
Oh, like everybody else.
Yeah, that was at the time where the whole industry was changing.
Yeah.
You know, all the companies were merging and everyone was shooketh that the industry was crumbling down. But it's still not going to crumble down.
Well, it's different now. I mean, it's just, I think, yeah, it's not as many jobs. They've changed things.
Not many jobs.
Not as many. But like, I mean, if you are, like you said, an entrepreneur, as you say on your resume, you could figure it out, you know? I mean,
yeah, I've been trying to get into the job market. It's hard.
Again? You trying to get into the job market?
I tried. I've been trying.
Still?
Yeah.
Yeah?
And I've gotten a lot of no's.
What do you think that is?
I think either some companies are, as much as they're like, oh, we're looking for someone with entrepreneurial spirit or entrepreneurial skills, I think sometimes that scares them from wanting to take a chance because I'm such an entrepreneur. Sometimes they would prefer the person that's been able to withstand a job for 8 years inside of a building or 5 years or have that experience. Yeah, I think that's one. Two, there's like a whole new ATS compliant resume. It's hard.
I have no fucking clue what that even means.
So essentially nowadays with AI, these recruiters are allowing these systems to make sure that your resume is formatted correctly before even getting it to the company. So you have to, yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if y'all know about that, but yeah. Look, they're all nodding. Yeah. So like I had like a really nice, cool, fun, I'm a creative director resume. So I had like little yellow things on it. I got my personality on here. I got links and shit. Nowadays, you have to have a very kind of streamlined resume. So I don't know, I've gotten less, I've not heard back from a lot of places, but also there's 300,000 women, Black women without jobs. I'm one of them in this entire Estados Unidos.
Mm-hmm.
There's just a change in the economy. Yeah. So I just feel like a lot more people are looking for jobs. But yeah, it's been an interesting, and I've also applied for music jobs and I don't hear nothing back.
When you're applying to music jobs, like tech music or just labels or?
I just did my first one. I won't name who it was, but I applied for like a direct-to-consumer creative direct. It was like a D2C consumer marketing, like overseeing merch.
Yeah.
And designs for artists.
Okay.
And I didn't get it.
Really?
Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, so I would feel like you're a pretty good hire. Yeah, exactly. You think that might be
I think I'm like under. I'm overqualified in the sense that I've done a lot of things, probably more than a lot of people that are sitting in their seats. And then I'm under in the sense that I have not worked inside of a building. I've only worked inside of one building. And that is still a music tech company. It's not like a label. Even though I've worked with, on my resume, you would see that I've worked with labels, you know. I worked with 4 labels.
Yeah.
Actually, I've worked with 10 labels on different capacities.
Right.
But yeah.
It's crazy because I, to be honest with you, Sam, if I felt like if I was going to go to apply with some of these music labels, I probably wouldn't get, I feel like I would not get looked at or get the job.
And I'm not. And I stopped applying.
Okay, so yeah.
Yeah, I try my best. I like jobs. But
I feel like as well, sorry, not to cut you off, but I do feel like, no shade to like these buildings or anything like that, but somebody like you would probably die like a really slow death at these labels. Like,
I know.
It's
well, I want to be my own label. I want to be my own thing. So that's the conversation that I've been having is like finding the right partner. I've been having some interesting conversations, but it really it's just taking a risk on me and taking a risk on the talent that I want to develop and taking a risk on the infrastructure, the things that I want to bring, and also just taking a chance.
Yeah.
But I've been having a really interesting time. And I was telling you that too. Thankfully, you've been introducing me to different distributors and different people.
Of course.
But it's
your track record speaks for itself.
Yeah. But you know what else? I'll be honest. It's hard when you go from having 2 crazy, amazing artists. That's still 6 years ago.
Yeah, that's true.
Like that's 6 years ago. And so I'm also being looked at like, well, what have you done
for me lately?
And especially since I don't even play the game of showing what exactly I'm doing all the time or who I'm working with or who I'm styling. I think it's, out of sight, out of mind a lot of times in our business.
True.
Which is, that's just something that I'm okay with. I'm okay with standing on like I've been able to self-sustain this entire time since then and build a career for myself. But yeah, it's hard when you're not playing the game also, you know?
Yeah.
I'm not showing that I just styled X, Y, and Z. And sometimes some of my clients don't want that. Like,
that's right.
I don't want to over leverage their likeness for my personal gain always. But,
yeah. Well, I mean, but like, I get where you're coming from, but also ultimately at the end of the day, this is a livelihood that we're talking
for sure,
about,
for
right?
sure.
So you do want to, and that's just the game, as you mentioned, right? That you have to have the exposure. I mean, shit, I was like Left 4 Dead 2 years ago, like almost in this business. Like, it was hard.
Yeah, I'm just coming back from the dead. You brought me back.
Hopefully, I mean, listen, people are going to be able to hear you talk about the amazing success stories that you had, not only when it comes to managing 2 incredible artists, breaking these 2 artists, doing all the creative direction, really understanding what brand looks like, on top of the styling and like thinking about like just image as a whole and like how to be able to take somebody from point A to point B and then beyond.
Yeah.
You telling me right now you sold 250 tickets, like that's no joke.
That's great.
That's incredible. Like anybody that can sell 250 tickets in any city, like that is you know what I mean? And then now it's like, I'm assuming you're building CRMs, emails, and phone numbers and all that
stuff.
We're
grassroots over here.
Have to be.
Yes.
It sounds like it's going to go great though. I mean, 250 tickets, wow. I'm impressed.
I can't wait till it's 2,500 tickets.
Yeah. How do you see, where do you see the path to that? What do you need to get to 2,500 tickets is a better question.
Great. That's a great question. You need really good music that's growing and in the market space.
Mm-hmm.
So I think putting out more records, putting out more music is key. I also am a firm believer of like working a record. Like, and I mean like one song.
True.
A lot of times I know artists want to put out EPs, and you should put out projects or an album, but I think it's all about the build before. Mm-hmm. And even with Lucky put out 2 EPs, which then became the album. Same with Ari, we put out 4 records before the album, and then we had 2 records that we were pushing on both sides that were those key songs that draw in those fans. So I'm really excited about really creating momentum with artists in that way, and just finding how it works on the independent side. What I need is capital and resources, right? Like you can put out a project on any of these distribution platforms, right? Like anybody can upload a song to DistroKid, to TuneCore, to video, SoundCloud for artists. There are all kinds of places. But what happens is that there's sometimes it's not being worked. And when I mean worked in a sense of like, there isn't a team behind it pushing for it and advocating for it at Apple, at Spotify, at Amazon, or at these other DSP places. And then also like, how do you gain fans without having to oversell yourself on TikTok? How do you create organic fandom and connections with your fans outside of those norms? When do we bring back wheat pasting? Like when do we pass out flyers at high school? Yeah, like how do we still break artists in a way in this climate? I think is going to be really interesting for all of us to discover because everything has become so digital. I think that there's something to be said to your point of like figuring out how to organically go to colleges, go to these, homecoming performances and like touch fans. Like at the end of the day, you have to find the people that want to listen to your music. And it's just like, well, what are you doing to get there to do that? Yeah. Outside of posting on your Instagram.
Right. Yeah, it can't be the end all be all. You got to have out of home, but that takes capital, as you mentioned.
It takes capital. And also it takes, for female artists, for women artists, they need to look good. They have to have their hair done. They do need a wardrobe. For male artists, they need a wardrobe. Like sometimes also, a lot of these artists, they need a studio to work out of, They need to pay their producer $500, $1,000. Like, there are still small costs with just being an artist in general and putting out a record. So you need a little bit of you need capital.
Yeah.
And I think that's just all that it takes is just a little bit of resources, a little bit of capital, and a lot of strategy on how you're working the records.
If an artist says to you, that they just want to focus on the music.
Yeah, they all say that.
Do you find that? No, not all of them. Most of them will, but is that challenging?
No. I think that's what I'm here for, right? It's like, okay, well, after you play me some, hopefully they're really good songs. It's like, how are we putting it out? What does it look like? What's your first record? Mm-hmm. What's the artwork look like? What's your story? Is there a BTS that's coming with that artwork? Are you talking to your fans in your videos? Are we shooting a music video? Are you doing a live pop-up? I think there's so much strategizing that comes around with putting out music that if you have the right team and people in place, they can help you then just take your music and put it together and piece it together. And then there are some artists that don't even need all that. They're like, yo, I'm gonna put this record out and work it backwards. I'm gonna put it out and then I'm gonna put out a music video. Then I'm gonna, I think that's just, there's no one way, is what I'm saying.
It's true.
There just isn't. I don't think there's one blueprint. A lot of artists, aren't gonna have Brent Faiyaz's success because they're not making Brent Faiyaz-like records.
Right.
So I think it's about gauging where the artist is sonically in their career and then how they're putting out their music. It's all a fucking dance.
How do you identify a great artist there?
It's just spirit.
Yeah.
It's just spirit.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's all intuitive. Everything is intuitive for me though. It's like either I feel it or I don't. I remember when I saw Ari in 2013 and I heard this song, I was like, wow, her voice it was really always Ari's voice. It's just insane. And like, same thing when I heard Lucky, I'm like, this songwriting is crazy. Tone Stith, incredible. Crazy. I mean, he's also a crazy songwriter.
Crazy, yeah.
Everyone that we've worked with just is has an incredible talent.
Yeah.
And I just like to work with talent that are just, ordained with the gift.
Are those things that you can identify now in your career where you're like,
they got it
special? Yeah.
Well, so I can, yes, but it's interesting. I've found this artist and I was like, I don't know if this is good. And that was the first time I was like, is it me or is it the music? Like, is it me that can't identify or is it the music? And normally I don't.
Why was it other people telling you it's dope and you were like, I don't know?
Yeah, okay. It was like, oh, am I not understanding the greatness to this?
Right.
But that's why I say it's always gonna be intuitive for me because it needs to just be like 100% like, yes, it's good. Like I can't question it.
Yeah.
Anytime I kind of question it, I don't tend to work with it.
No? Have you ever done it that way? No. It usually doesn't work.
No, everything I've worked on and anything that I do, I like. Like I care about, I listen to it, even if it's not the biggest, even if it's not the, I just directed a video with Barris Hammond and Jesse Royal and Medisun, and it's just like, there's a bajillion people that have no idea.
What are you talking about?
But it's like, I love
so
this.
Hard.
Born in Jamaica.
While she was out there, I was like, yo, listen, if you could get like a little shout out for Kiah.
The God.
For Barris, that'd be crazy.
Yeah, but like my R&B industry friends and my friends, they don't know about Barris. They're not.
It's not in the Caribbean.
You know what I'm saying? They don't know
what's going on out there,
But I'm okay with just knowing that that's just how I work. Some people will be like, oh, it's too personal. You have to be personal. Like there's professional and then there's personal. Most things for me when it comes to like the music stuff and especially with styling too, it is personal. Because I don't want to give my sauce to someone that doesn't deserve it or doesn't like it. Why would I do that? If I'm not doing that in my real day, why would I do that just for work or for a check? Recently, I was actually approached by someone and they asked me, what would it take for me to do something? And I was like, well, that's where you got me all wrong. Because it's like, it's not about money for me. It's not about clout or cachet for me. It's about me passionately liking what I'm doing and just being creative. Like a lot of people kind of do it for money or for the notoriety or the visibility of it all. I think my career has just really is based on passion. Like,
I've been there before.
Yeah.
I've done things for money, to be honest with you.
Yeah, sure.
And it's, I never feel great about it.
Yeah.
But
I
gotta pay the bills.
100%.
Gotta pay the bills.
100%.
So how have
I sustained since?
Yeah.
I met with a good friend of mine. Her name is Kim Tignor. And she has a nonprofit in DC called Take Creative Control. And she basically helped me, take my creative skills into the social impact space. And so with the elections happening, I was able to kind of work with different clients on strategizing how they were, putting out creative visuals and seeding like authentic, creative moments in these civic spaces. So I've done some creative agency work there. I still consult a bit for artists when they're releasing their singles or they're releasing, a music video. I kind of help produce and directing. Like the agency side of Gander allows me to kind of spread my wings from being an advisor to also a producer and a creative director. The management side, to me, I'm okay with taking less in the beginning because, you just have to. There's no real money to be there's no real money to be made.
Yeah.
And I just told a friend of mine recently, like, I have not made money in music in quite some time.
On the management side.
On the management side, yeah.
Yeah.
because I wasn't doing it for a while.
You weren't doing it.
I wasn't doing it.
Yeah.
So now that I've lived a life on the other side of it all, I've been able to figure out how to find my passion back for doing it and also not. And maybe that's why I was a little bit burnt out at the time because I was merging the two worlds. It was like management and creative direction were my livelihoods. That's all that I have. So the fact that I've been able to kind of balance out my life to be able to okay, I can get money in these worlds and do these things on the side, and then be able to kind of feed what I love to do, which is artist development and management. It's been working for me up until the point where I need to actually have money to, develop and break an artist. But yeah, I've been able to just sustain by, advising, consulting, styling, and then hopefully 5 years from now, we're having a different conversation on a yacht because we have a show in Greece or something.
Shorter, totally 18.
Yeah.
18 to 24
18
months.
to 24.
Did you have an aha moment where you're like, I got to get back to this management?
Yeah, my aha moment came when Kiah called me, Kiah Victoria, who I work with now. She's from Maryland, where I'm from. And it was during COVID. And do you remember when we were in COVID and people were like social distancing?
Yes, of course.
Yeah. And she was like, look, I know, people are social distancing, but Spirit told me to call you and I really want to play you my album. And I was like, okay, did Spirit say anything else? Like, what else did he say, girl? And I was just like, I told her, she knew my story. She knew I wasn't doing management. And she came over and she played me her album and I loved it so much. Like 3 songs made me cry. And
what about it?
Kiah can sing. I mean, she went to Berkeley. She's like classically trained.
Yeah.
She is a vocal producer and a vocal coach as well. That's how she's been able to sustain her independence as well.
No shit.
But she can sing her ass off, and her songwriting is so beautiful. So she worked with Rom Silverglade on this project called And Then We Wept. And it's funny because that was my first time trying to put out an independent project. And I had went from SoundCloud for Artists, but then when I left SoundCloud for Artists, I was like, okay, let me try something else. And then I met Annie Shapiro at Vivo, was like, you should try Vidya, this company called Vidya. And when I went to Vidya, we met this lovely woman named Hey Alsu. Hey Alsu was then let go 6 months later. Then we got another person. And then that person got let go 6 months later. And then Vidya was then acquired by Gamma.
Oh, so this is before they got acquired?
Yeah, this is before they got acquired. And Kiah's album came out in the mix of all that.
Okay.
And we were just like, you know what, screw it, we're gonna put it out anyway. And so, yeah, we put it out in 2024.
Okay.
And my aha moment was that every time I tried to quit, which was probably 3 or 4 times with Kiah,
really?
She would come back and be like, we're doing this, girl. I believe in you. I know you. What I was framing for her was my connections weren't hitting like they were in 2020, 2019 when you have 2 cracking R&B artists. Apple and Spotify aren't going to return my calls as quicker. You're a new artist that is undiscovered. It's a lot to then you take those relationships and then be able to leverage what I was doing. And she's just been rocking with me. Like, it's just been a journey between the two of us trying to like make sure her music is good, really work on what her look and feel is like, which I think we finally just got to. And we've been working together for about 3 or 4 years now.
That's a journey.
It's a journey.
It's a journey.
Yeah.
And not making any money. That's real commitment.
Yeah. I believe in her. I believe in her sound. I think it's just, being able to like really lock in though, like have a studio we can lock into for 2 weeks and finish records. Like we don't really have that going for us. Even with the other artists I'm working with, Uno, like they're so talented and so self-sufficient, but we haven't even gotten to scratch the surface of what it means to like lock in and then be able to have a little bit of a marketing budget. You know what I mean?
I've heard you say that a couple of times where you need the studio, but it's just like a lot of people will say like, well, why do you need a recording studio to be able to lock in and make a record? Can't you make something makeshift with just like a couple grand? What, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you can, but I think some artists like, they are like, Kiah needs a drummer. She needs
explain
like,
that. Like,
Oh, okay. Yeah, some artists are not just computer, you know, it's not just Pro Tools and a laptop sometimes for some artists. Like Bruno Mars is not just in his closet working on his laptop and recording himself, okay? Mm-hmm. He has 5 musicians. He's gonna have there's real musicality that comes with being in the recording studio. Mm-hmm. And I think that's like also a missing art. It's like, yes, you can like make beats and you can get producers to come, but you still need to be creating, and artists need to be in a space where they're creating. Mm-hmm. And that does sometimes require a space, unless their homeboy happens to be the producer and has their garage and, has a setup. Like not every artist has that, you know? Sometimes you do need an actual physical space and a lockout where it's just like, we're gonna bang out 10 records with these musicians and, hit record. Yeah, like sometimes you gotta lock out. You just gotta like really focus. Yeah. And I think it's just a process for a lot of different, every process is different, but I think Kiah and Uno deserve to have, some real time spent in a studio. I wish I had one,
Right.
But hopefully now I'll get one.
Just making the gun right there. You got it.
But I'm thankful. Like a lot of my friends helped me. I have a lot of really good friends in the industry. Like Eddie Forcell has been such a good mentor to me. He's one of the best A&Rs in the game. And, Nat and I are still close friends. And, we be thugging it together. That's why we're called Outliers, because we're just like, we're in it.
I love that name.
Yeah, we're in it, but we're just, on the other side sometimes.
Well, I mean, y'all got a crazy track record, so.
We do.
You got a very impressive track record.
It's hard, though. It's hard to be in the business. Yeah, it is, for sure.
What's the hardest part?
When you're an underdog, I mean, I think being an underdog in a industry like ours, people like to see the underdog win, but they don't know what's happening when the underdog isn't at that winning season yet. Like I think Kalani's story is beautiful because it's like she's been at this for a very long time. Duran Bernard also just won. Very long time. Like it took them a decade to get to where they are. And it's not that the Grammys solidifies that. Yeah. Leon Thomas. Like
even Olivia Dean.
Yeah. She said she was with her manager for 10 years.
Crazy.
That means she's with her since she was a teenager.
Yeah.
Like it takes
for 10 years, and we've only known of her for 7 years.
100%.
If that.
Really
the
past 3. 3, 4.
6 months.
Sure.
6 to 12 months.
Hi. Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like that in-between time. And, I think Ari's and Lucky's in-between time was so short when you really look at it. Yeah. Like, it happened so fast.
Yeah.
So, to go from, taking an artist that you're working with and developing and breaking them in a year, that doesn't really actually happen. And that's what happened with us. So I think now it's like re-entering a space of like, how do we still achieve those still heights, but with less resources now and in a longer space of time? It's just the timing of it all.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm just thinking about it. I'm just trying to think of like who I can loop you in with in terms of distribution.
Oh, I've been talking.
Yeah, I know you have been. Yeah, I don't want to feel like I'm talking out of turn, but it was just like, we should talk more about like the capital raising stuff. Like,
yeah, so someone needs to get me a cute little bag so I can just have a little marketing and do a little recording budget.
Put together a deck. You tell them.
I already have it. It's in my email.
Yeah, if you got the deck, and then just, I'm sure there's friends and family in this business that you can go to. When I say friends and family, I mean people who like invest money. I
think so.
Yeah, go to 5 or 10 of these individuals and then just pitch them the idea. Because at the end of the day, even if there's no revenue, like people get millions of dollars based off of a fucking idea.
No.
An idea.
I'm not gonna lie, and I'm not saying no names. I am seeing my male counterparts are getting to it, okay? Like they are. It's hard to be a young woman especially a young black woman in this business. And like, that's just really what it comes down to, you know? I'm not a victim at all, right? But we are outliers in that way. And especially when, like, my track record is great, and I'm so thankful that you say that, but it's still a while ago. And they're looking at you like, well, what you do since then? Right. And if they can't see it, then they're really just taking a risk on you. They're taking a chance. And you have to find that right person to take the chance. Yeah. And it's just been taking me a minute to find that right, you know, alignment or that right partner. But I'm very hopeful for it. Like I'm not in a race, I'm not in a rush. I also, you know, and you know That's how great. It is with the majors too. Like sometimes you gotta do a little bit, you have to figure out who's your fit, you know? Sometimes it might be just someone I'm not even thinking of.
Totally.
That's the change.
That's 100% because you go and like write out that list, like even other managers who you still have relationships with. You go and you sit down and be like, hey, I'm putting this thing together. I'm raising X amount of dollars. Is there a $10,000 check that you can cut to this or a $25,000?
Well, the economy is trash here right now, unfortunately.
Fair, but I mean, there's still people that
that
like I'm sure that are within your network that you can go and have like a conversation with. And even if it's not that person, there's like somebody that they could potentially lead you to. You know what I mean? I think that like there's so many different ways because think about it now, like I think there's like I might be getting this wrong and I don't want to, you know, talk outside of my neck with this, but I feel like I read somewhere that private equity, there's a lot of private equity that is trying to be deployed right now that hasn't been deployed.
Yes.
And so you don't necessarily need to go to the majors.
I'll find a venture capitalist, an angel
investor.
That's what
I'm saying. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You can find, because they're willing to deploy capital. And I'm not going to name some names, right? You know, but I'm like, I had lunch with somebody the other day. I'll tell you off camera, but they told me they're like, yo, we're about to raise $1 billion.
I know.
But
that's what be messing me up though. I'd be like, well, where's my $1 billion?
Well, he didn't start with $1 billion.
I know.
You know what I mean? Like, but
I'm seeing it. I'm watching it. I'm watching it. And I guess my, I'm going with the divine flow of like right place, right time, right person, right conversation. To be fair, I just resurged myself back into the music space. Like I've been directing and styling and doing other things. But I'm curious to see what happens over this year because I feel like there's a lot of changes in music. I feel like also once I've helped distribute more music independently, that will kind of change the game. So that,
absolutely.
You know? So I'm okay with taking the long road for now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Having the right people, I think, is the main thing.
And your artists are good too.
Artists are good, you know?
There you go. So they're earning a living however they're learning.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that was really important for us to have those types of conversations too. Kiah is such a trooper because...
Good manager.
Yeah, I'm like, you gotta have do you have a home? Like, can you feed yourself? So Kiah actually at one point in time was working for Songfinch. Are you familiar with Songfinch? No. This girl was writing out maybe 10 to 20 songs a day and they pay you per song. Kiah.
Oh, okay.
Do you know those videos where you see like the husband and wife, they're in the car and like you hear like a custom song being sung? It's like, hey baby, I love you, happy birthday. We met in Toronto on the 34th day. I'm taking you to Paris. You know those videos where you hear that the wife made, you know, a custom song? Kiah was doing that, making a living for the past all of last year, most of like last year. She's hustled, like she's a vocal producer, she's a vocal coach, she does her shows, she's sung backup for Alan Stone and Trans-Siberian Orchestra. And she's done so well with like, I'm gonna make sure I'm good until our music is right, until everything is aligned, and we can just, you know, hit the ground running. And same thing with Uno. Uno works at a really cool company, and they're fantastic jewelers, and they give him flexibility, and they're, You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
we're still human beings. Like, artists are still, unless you're doing
Gotta
it
take care of your
really full time, it's like, yeah, you gotta pay your rent. You need to make sure you can have gas in your car so you can go to the studio.
Yeah.
So I think they've done a really good job with getting themselves together first, and then, you know, focusing on creative.
Yeah, but that's a big piece of the management puzzle that a lot of people, so, you know, when you're looking at this music business from the outside, you know, you're thinking, oh, the manager is just always on their phone. Got the best job in the world. It's just like this.
Yeah.
And like in the arenas, not doing anything, just at the parties or the events. But like the job of a manager is so much more intricate.
It's personal.
Very personal.
It
I don't know
is.
how to do it any other way.
I
and
admire-
probably why I'm just don't manage as much as
Well, you're right. Well, I admire the OGs that are like, I ain't doing that. Like, you know, like they be a little hands off, and it's just like that's just not my
like Unk status, not OG yet. Just
yeah. Are you Unk status?
I might be OG.
I think I'm getting auntie. I'm
Yeah,
like
auntie.
young OG.
You like young OG?
I'm young OG, and like I'm cruising into my auntie.
Because of the resume.
Yeah, it's young OG.
The resume's OG. Okay.
But I'm young still.
Yes.
But I think it's it's funny because it's like I feel like I'm getting a whole new start. Even though I've done all those things, I've also had to be okay with letting go of those things and like creating my identity outside of those things. I mean, that's why I was even nervous to come on the podcast, because I'm like, dang, well, I definitely didn't share all the things that I experienced and what I went through to do what I did, but it was also 6 years ago. So now I'm interested to see where my career goes now that I'm in this new space and figuring out the lessons that I, you know, learned from when I did have so much success in music, to now a new chapter. I'm pretty excited about it.
Tell me, okay, from the success, what's one thing that you feel like you're able to identify and carry on in this era of you being an artist manager? And then also, if you can identify to me, like, you know, what's something that most managers overlook that they shouldn't?
You can never overlook how someone treats you. Close it, wrap, pack it up, time to go.
That's a bar.
You can never overlook how someone treats you. And I think when you're young and ambitious and you're passionate, sometimes that can put you on a slippery slope in your relationships. And I think knowing what you're bringing to the table and knowing what value you're adding to a team or said person, I think is like the most important part. Because it did take for me to be like, is this good for me? Is this situation good for me? To then make certain decisions, whether it would be to stay or to leave. And I think, you know, when you're sometimes people are at all costs. Sometimes I'm not at all costs. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I need to save myself.
That's okay.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of times, you know, after you think about, I done put in so many years. I put in so much time. You know, I miss Christmases. You sacrifice a lot to be in the business, especially when something's cracking. This is like, it's just that.
It's nonstop.
Yeah, it's like I'm on the road, I'm on a plane, I'm on a tour bus, I'm in a dressing room. Like there's not much time for anything else. I think, you know, just knowing your value is like the most important thing that I don't think I realized until after I walked away from management. Like how much I was doing, how much I was being an assistant, a manager, a stylist, creative director, and a therapist and a friend and sometimes a mom. Like, you know, Lucky wrote me a card one time that was like, "Happy birthday, Mom." Like that's how close I was. That's how close we get. And I think it's just knowing when it's like, is this good for me? Am I happy? Am I healthy also? Like, I was really, really burnt out after it all. And it's my fault. Like I chose to do these things. I chose to go hard. But, you know, I think that there were certain things I may or may not needed to take on the chin. You know what I mean?
Right.
And you take a lot on the chin. Like, that's just what it is. They had a bad day. They got a moment. Like, all right, cool. Like,
yeah, of course.
We'll pick back up. I'll dust it off. But, you know, I had to go to therapy after it all. I needed to, you know, I spent 3 years in therapy just really unpacking my empathy, my sensitivities, my fresh, you know, just all that comes with, you know, wanting to be almost a people pleaser and a do-gooder.
Yeah.
You know, I think that, you know, people don't know how to take care of themselves when you're also dedicating yourself to someone. Because that's what it takes. It just is.
It does.
It just takes you to be all in. It's like an every day. You on the phone with them every day. You on the phone with the teams or the label or something every day. It's not there's no real breaks. Saturdays are not Saturdays.
No, artists don't see that shit.
No.
They don't, they think that when we're not talking to them that we're not doing our job.
Yeah.
And it's just like, no. Yeah. I'm talking to everybody nonstop, left and right.
Yeah.
And so like, you're right. Like, man, so then how do you get to the level of success that you had with those prior artists, with this artist now, but still be able to maintain like yourself?
We won't see, inshallah. Look, I don't know. I feel like I'm more grounded within myself and within my capabilities. And I'm also more grounded in, I can't do that. Like, I think that there was a point in time where I was like, oh no, I can do everything. I can style you at the same time. There is no more of that. I think it's more being intentional with like what my strengths are and then being able to delegate and say, no, let's get somebody else to do that, as opposed to feeling like I need to carry it all on my back. I think that's the difference, is like finding the right people and team now to kind of help me execute, as opposed to me trying to execute everything on my own.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I'm doing the socials, I'm figuring out the picture, I'm talking to, we gotta go to the label. It was just like, there was just so much going on that I was saying yes.
And what happens is and to no fault of their own, like, and even the manager and the artist in the beginning, is just y'all.
Yeah.
And so when you're doing all of these things and then the business grows, the artist sometimes doesn't realize that you have to let go of the manager doing certain things. And if they're not doing those things, they feel like they don't care as much. To no fault of their own, it's because that's what the relationship...
Because we were doing it all before.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so there starts to be like conflict sometimes when the thing scales.
Yeah.
Right? And it's a challenging thing because, like you said, it's so personal. It's such a like, this isn't a regular job that you're doing. This is 24/7.
No. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so, and I'm excited to see how you're able to navigate through this, because I always had a tough time trying to, cause I'm all in. And, you know, I realized that I had to step away from, as of recent, like some of these artists that I was working with, because I wasn't all in. And I didn't know how to do it any other way.
Yeah.
And I didn't feel like I'm all in on this.
I was gonna say, but you know what's so beautiful about that?
Yeah.
You get a chance to then do all those types of things and think in that kind of way for yourself.
Yeah.
Like, now you are the artist. Like, this is your show.
I'd never say I'm an artist, but yeah, like it's my thing.
But you are.
Yeah.
But you are. We all are.
Right.
We are all our own creators,
yes,
right?
Yes.
So it's like you're channeling everything that you've learned and everything that you would have gave to said artist into like you building the manager's playbook. Like that's your thing.
Right.
And that's hard when I feel like you're a giver. I feel like you're a giver. I'm a giver in that way. It's like to then reverse it onto yourself and give to yourself. It's a hard thing because it's like, dang, you want to help that. Like, I want to help that artist. I want to help that thing. But then to really step aside and be like, yo, well, actually, I need to pour into myself in the same way. Like, I think that was like that was one of my aha moments where I'm like, yo, I'm burnt out. I need to.
And you can't be there for them if you are. I feel like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. No.
Yeah.
Need a refresh.
Yeah. Well, I give you all the credit in the world to keep going and understanding that this is the thing that you love to do.
I do. Sometimes I'd be like, why? And then sometimes I'm like, I just want to live on a farm.
Yeah, well,
maybe write a couple books.
Maybe do you read a lot?
I read so much.
Oh, man. So tell me, what's
It's funny because I haven't read this, and I've been wanting to read this.
I'm reading it again now.
I haven't read this either.
This is a great book. This is a really good book. Contagious, yes.
I did read Rick Rubin.
Yeah.
What am I currently reading?
Yeah, what are 3 books? I used to ask the guests this, and half the time I forget now, so
I'm
I gotta ask you.
reading this old book called The Majesty of Calmness.
Okay.
It's like an old rinky-dink, like 60 pages, and it's an amazing book.
What's it about?
One of the chapters is called Hurry, the Scourge of America.
Mm-hmm.
And it breaks down how our society is not made for calmness. It's actually made for the opposite. And through reading it, it's made me realize how fast we go in our day, in our mind, within ourselves. But it's a really good book.
And it's a book that was written prior, like a long time ago?
Oh yeah, it's written like the 1800s. It's like a really old, small book.
Really? And you would think that, okay, crazy.
Yeah, it's great.
It sounds like it's written in 2026.
Fantastic.
Okay.
I've been reading The 4 Agreements, Miguel Ruiz.
Yes.
I've been revisiting. I always revisit that every year.
Family.
Is it?
No. No, it's not.
I was about to say,
no, just joking. But I did see on the cover, I was like, oh, Ruiz, oh shit. Let me see if there's lineage. No.
That would be fire.
That would be.
And then Finding Me, Viola Davis. I'm like first chapter and I just started that.
She's the GOAT. Yeah.
GOAT.
Yeah, GOAT status.
I love her energy. Her book has so much good energy.
Paris, I love your energy.
Thank you.
This has been awesome. I don't know if there's anything else that you want to talk about, but I do just want to say ultimately that like, I really do admire how you've been able to go about the business, breaking the artist, doing it in a way that is with good energy, you know, and continuously still being in love with this business and the artist, considering everything that you've gone through. And yeah, it's just a pleasure to sit here and have the conversation with you.
I appreciate you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for seeing me and having me.